went down enlisted the weekend before I had to report for the draft. I was going to be drafted. I made a choice, and I chose, and I had a good friend that was enthused about flying, and he thought I ought to get something connected with flying, and I requested, and I was accepted as a naval cadet. And all my training led up to flying for the Navy. And all my flying experience, I've never flown privately or any other purpose other than while I was in the Navy. Might say I parked it and haven't flown since. Those were the two most impressive guys that taught me more about flying that I actually used their training and all during my flying experience. One was a crop duster and one was an acrobatic pilot. And they thoroughly trained me, excuse me, but I was a well-trained pilot. I mean, I think I was well-trained. I never had any trouble flying. I've had accidents or two, and they always say, "Pilot there." And I had an accident, and I said, "Let me out of this thing. I never want in another one." But come find out, one of the flaps went down, one didn't, and my plane just somersaulted. I'm not sure whether it was a fighter plane or I was in a training plane. You know, it was early, but I had a board hearing, and they found that I was capable and still, and it was never mentioned again. USS Natoma Bay, CBE 62. Quite an old ship. It was busy, and we'd spend time watching other pilots take off and landing, because there's quite a few accidents and something going on all the time to keep your attention. We had catapult shots up here in the first, and we had quite a few accidents. One pilot had a power failure on a deck takeoff. We could easily take off for a deck takeoff down the deck or this cat shot. He was on a deck takeoff and he had a power failure going, and he rolled up the bow of the ship and dropped in. And the ship started trying to dodge and run over, and it went down under the ship. It started turning, trying to dodge him, and it went down under the ship and they was afraid he'd hit the propeller, and he barely missed the propeller and come up back of the carrier waving his gloves. And so it's quite exciting aboard carrier duty.
Yes, sir.
Something going on all the time. You had to give it all you got. Got to be sure that full throttle, and you have a screw it. You can screw it and hold that throttle down that while it's at full power. So, because you may, eject you back, you may pull the throttle back unintentionally. So you screw that throttle down when you taking off on that cat shot. So if something happens, you'll have power. If it's something such as a ship, it won't shake you off at the throttle. That sidearm is used more for, it's a 38 pistol, and the cartridges were flare tight, and it was carried more in case you had to make a water landing. You could use it as a flare. You could pop, it may be dark, or you may be lost for quite a while. If you can have that, you can use it for a flare. Or, of course, if you're over enemy territory, which one instance, I didn't have to use it, but I mean, that would be the only firearm I'd have if I had to go down on land. The plane I flew had 4 50 caliber machine guns, and it would also shoot 6 rockets, 3 under each wing. And you also could carry extra gas in an extra fuel tank, or that terrible stuff, napalm, which is something you shouldn't, which I had used one time. A tank full of napalm at Okinawa. There are cameras mounted in the wings. They won't know what you're shooting, or they keep up with everything you do. It's for the cameras for reports. I mean, they can tell what happened, what didn't happen, even though you wouldn't be able to if they can get those cameras. So they picture everything you do. Is the formation. We fly in flights of 4, and this is what you'd call the peel off. We pull off one going on our strike or mission, and sometimes the fire would, the anti-aircraft fire would be pretty intense. Mm-hmm. And I was number 4, and they'd have 2 or 3 bursts at the first, and the aircraft fire would pick up for the later thing. And I would circle and come in some other direction. I just got to looking after I could see that was getting terrible. The anti-aircraft, when I was going down, was a lot heavier, so I'd just make my run and join them on the other side. And it was quite an experience getting back to board ship. My plane was smoking, and it broke an oil line, hit the hot engine, but I could tell the oil leak was coming right up the engine, and I knew I was in trouble because I was over the enemy target, and I could either first thought a water landing straight ahead, I could see one. And I was going fast enough to get altitude, I could bail out. I knew I may have to do something about the plane. But long it was smoking, I had to open the cockpit and slow down as slow as I could because my engine was heating up, and I knew I was limited how long I could stay in the plane. And I see the water landing a parachute soon. And I headed for the ship, and it was getting dark. It was right at sundown when I made, and it was dark before I got The other flights in the flight left because they had to get back to the carrier because this is the last flight. And I got back, it was dark. And got back, I couldn't see the ship for a while. And I knew it was going to make a water landing or a parachute. And I was trying to decide which I'd rather do. But headed toward the ship, and I got into, I didn't see the ship till I got close enough to they addressed me and they said, we'll give you a light for Cobra check, you're cleared for a landing. And the only lights I had was a red light, showed me where the ship was. And when you got around in a landing position, they had the deck lighted up to where it covered lights, and the deck was lighted. You could see the deck to land, make a carrier landing. It was the only night landing I had ever made. I hadn't been trained for night flight. Cobra Chick.
Okay.
That's Cobra Shepherd. Cobra was the carrier flight squadron code nickname, or it wasn't official, but they called us Cobra Chicks. And the Chick distinguished us from the TBM, the torpedo bomber, which also was aboard the Natoma Bay. We had two, that's a composite squadron composed of fighters and torpedo bombers. The landing gear on this Wildcat is drawn up in the fuselage and goes out on two, which makes a very narrow landing gear. And they're spongy, you know, they have to have a caution landing, and they tend to wobble or ground loop, or you sort of have to fly it right in the middle. You don't try to fight it, I just relax. I mean, stay as straight as I could. Whoop, that's after we've been hit by a kamikaze. Knocked the hole up deck is 20-some feet in the flight deck. It barely hit and missed this carrier plane that was on the catapult, ready for a shot, and they just pushed it overboard, but it knocked the hole about 20 feet across. The engine went plumb through the deck down below. And the fuselage blew overboard, through overboard. Fire broke out in that plane. You can see the firefighters putting the fire. I like to commend the firefighters. Boy, they jump after a fire in a hurry. It was a beautiful island from up above approaching, you know, and you could see ships. I could see ships galore lined up to blast that island. It's such a pretty little island. It's all green and quiet. And man, what happened the next day? I mean, well, terrible. Down in the islands, we were carrier air support unit. We were stationed, there were islands all over the Pacific, and we were replacement pilots. Just in the area, a carrier could come by and need two or one, or we got carrier pilots trained, ready to go. We trained every day take off landings and shoot at targets, a sleeve towed behind the tow plane. We got a target on the long lead, and we make gunnery runs at that sleeve that we train constantly. I don't know, with this exception, no one else received that or got the distinguished flag. I'm talking about officers or enlisted. I mean, no, I know others did, but not in my group that I was with. I don't understand that.
Could it be when you were able to land your aircraft after you were hit by the enemy?
I don't know whether it was, it doesn't state, you know, the letter I'm trying to authorize, specific, it just said involved flying. I got married during the war in 1944. Sarah Lee Gordon Bentley. We got married August the 6th, 1944, and I was home on leave. We were in first grade together, and all through school, it was like we've never been separated. I've never had another girl.
That's
Poor
a
old
love
me.
story.
Poor old thing. No, sir. We was just meant for each other. I think it's married. And we had a very happy marriage. And had 2 children, a daughter and a son. And now, of course, they've grown, got families, and I've got grandchildren and great-grandchildren. I think it's had a tremendous effect. In fact, at times I thought everybody ought to have spent some military time. I mean, that's where you get a different sort of education, getting along with people and taking assignments and carrying out duties and different aspects. I think it has good influence on everybody.